CP24, CP24 Radio 1050, and on Animal Planet. Time now for our regular and very popular Ask a Vet segment. Brand new vet for us here at Animal House Calls, Dr. Suzanne Lyons from the Bloor Animal Hospital. Welcome. Thank you. It's always great to have new perspectives, and I'm really pleased to meet you. And you brought along a cat that's up for adoption. And tell me how your clinic, your hospital, manages when it comes to rescuing and adopting animals.
Sure. Well, this is Moss. We think he's about 2 years old. He came to us, I guess, a couple of months ago, and he belonged to a family that they had their indoor cats that they took care of, and Moss didn't get along with them, so he couldn't come in, but they were feeding him and keeping him as an outdoor cat.
They left him outside.
Yeah, and then one day he came home and his tail was a bit mangled. It was infected, we thought maybe broken, and
so he might have run into had a fight with another cat or a predator.
Absolutely, we're not sure exactly what happened, but it wasn't very nice looking, and it needed to be amputated. And just given the fact that they couldn't bring him inside to be with their other cats, made the situation not so ideal.
So you took him in. I mean, did they call you and say, this is our problem and this is the issue?
They came in, and as soon as we realized that this tail was not something that we could salvage, that it needed to come off, they realized that they were a little bit in over their heads and needed to find a better situation for him.
And I guess we would have to make it very clear that you're not set up to take in every stray and every terrible situation. This was kind of an exception to the rule, if you will. I mean, you look at every single case and make your decision based on what you feel is right. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, we'd love to do this for every pet.
Of course, but I understand that. Yeah. So may we see the tail?
Absolutely.
The tail of the tail?
Yes. So this is Moss's new tail.
Well, it looks like a little worm.
Yeah. So it's very cute.
What does he think of it? He's looking at it. Does it affect?
I don't think so. He's been very comfortable. He hasn't gone after it. You know, a couple of times I've even seen him clicking it a little bit. It looks like a little Weimaraner tail.
What's the purpose of a cat's tail anyway? I mean, I know that, say, for squirrels, they're big and bushy, and in the winter they wrap those tails around them to try to protect themselves from the cold weather when they're hibernating. What would a cat's tail be? What would be the purpose?
I don't really know if there's a purpose to the tail, and that we do have some cats, either breed-wise or through accidents like Moss, that come without tails that do quite fine. Sometimes you can tell a little bit about their body language if they're scared or angry or whatnot. By what they do with their tail.
Well, he is a beauty, and I think he's even more handsome with a smaller tail, quite frankly.
We think so, too.
Now, we always want to make sure that animals are comfortable on Animal House Calls, so if it's okay with you, and we talked about this before this segment began, Jenny from Etobicoke Humane Society is going to let Moss have a little break now, and Moss is up for adoption, so how would, if somebody wanted to meet and greet Moss with a little tail, what would be their next step?
The next step would be to give the clinic a call, and we conduct interviews when we're looking for homes for our pets, where we want to meet you, learn a little bit about your situation, make sure you're aware of what it means to adopt a pet into your home, and make sure that you and Moss are suited to each other.
That's great. And do you have other animals up for adoption at the hospital?
At this time, no. But it's a revolving door.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. Absolutely. Yeah. Well done. I hope Moss gets a home.
Me too.
Let's go to the phones. We've got David on the line with a question. David's in Toronto. Hi, David.
Hi, good evening.
Welcome. Nice to have you with us. What is your question?
Well, for the last few days, my cat was not feeling well and keeping to itself. But last night around midnight, I happened to notice it trying to walk across the floor. It was dragging its back leg. So I went to an emergency clinic, and the vet there had told me that that it was actually a blood clot, and through it, like the term thrombosis, all this, it was quite an emotional evening, but he said that it's quite common in cats, and I'm just wondering, is it common in cats, or is it only in older cats, or a certain type of cat?
And what's the future like?
Well, I was only given a 50% survival rate, given the treatment and getting a cardiologist, so unfortunately I had to put the cat down last night. So, like I said, it's been a very emotional 12 hours, but I've been trying to find more information on it just for my own sanity today. So I'm just wondering if that is something that's common, or...
I know that he's really struggling, and this is something that you have to deal with on a regular basis, talking to the person who loved the animal so much. So Would you take a moment and just help him?
Absolutely. I'm so sorry to hear about what happened to your pet. Unfortunately, we do see this type of thing more than we'd like. It's usually when blood clots form on the valves of the heart. Sometimes it comes in a cat with a history of a heart problem, so there might have been a murmur detected in the past. Sometimes not at all. And what can happen is one of those little blood clots can dislodge from the valve and start going through the vessels. And eventually they get to a vessel that it can't fit through anymore. The vessel is just too small, and it gets stuck there. And it's usually at the part of the vessel that supplies the hind legs. So what happens is the cats become paralyzed. It's very sudden from 1 minute to the next, and it's extremely painful. So these cats are really in a bad situation.
It's a tough day for David.
It's very tough.
It'd be so
Absolutely.
awful. You know, I mean, is there anything that could have been detected ahead of time? He did everything he could, did all the right things.
Absolutely.
And also, you know, with his decision, but the veterinary and the assistance of the veterinary clinic, they did what they thought was best. And that cat is now out of pain, but David's suffering.
Yeah. I guess what I would tell you is I completely agree with what you were told by the veterinarians there. You know, to try to treat them, these cats typically don't do well. Even if you manage to get them through that one episode, the chance of them having another one in the very near future is extremely high.
So it was very painful.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
would there have been any, as I say, telltale signs leading up to this that David might have seen, or anybody with their beloved cats by their side right now watching?
Unfortunately, usually not. You know, in cats, sometimes there's a history of a heart murmur, but not every cat that has a heart murmur will have this type of problem.
And not every cat that is deemed to be in good health, I mean, they still might have something that's hidden. So you just
Absolutely,
don't know.
Especially in cats, to have what we call silent heart disease, or a heart disease that comes without any sign of a murmur or a problem that you would pick up on a physical exam, is common.
It sounds to me that David is trying very hard to, you know, analyze this and look at this in an intellectual way, and it's a heartbreaking experience.
Absolutely.
Do you also recommend that if people need to, that they might speak with bereavement groups when it comes
Absolutely.
to the loss of a pet?
Absolutely. Our clinic has one that we recommend. I know the Ontario Veterinary College also has and when I was there at least, there were a group of students that would answer calls from people.
So if David wished to,
absolutely.
he could contact your hospital and find out if he needed somebody to talk to and to share this with.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that you took the time to share it with us, and our condolences, David.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's go to Teresa in Mississauga. Hi, Teresa.
Hi, how are you?
Well, really sad to hear what David had to go through, but you know, it's when you love a pet, sadly, in more cases than we'd like to know, we outlive our beloved animals. How are you doing, and who have you got at home that you love?
Oh, I have a 17-year-old cat, which is great.
Yes,
But
good.
I have 2 Chow dogs, and I just wondered, when they go to the washroom, they always scoot their feet and rip up the grass, and I wonder why they do that.
They do what? Say that again, Teresa, what they do with the grass?
They scoot their feet, and when they go to the washroom, they scoot their feet, and it actually rips up a little bit of the grass.
So I don't know what you mean. They scoot their feet or their bottoms?
Like, no, they're back feet, like they rip, like at the ground.
Are they trying to cover up what they've just done by kicking back then?
I know what you're talking about. I think it's after your dog, I guess, urinates, he sort of kicks his back legs to the grass like a little dance. Pets have scent glands on the bottom of their paws, so sometimes it's sort of a marking their territory.
Could it be as well, I know that cats cover up in their litter box, could dogs be trying to cover up a little bit, kick back that dirt and cover that?
Potentially. Potentially, yeah.
So is there anything to worry about, or is it just a behavioral thing?
Yeah, not at all. It's just something they do, and it can be cute at times, yeah.
Does it mean then, Teresa, as well, that you know that that activity is over? So that's you know, that's a way of saying, I'm done.
That's great.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Bye, Teresa. Thank you. Angie is next in Toronto. Hi, Angie.
Hi,
Welcome. Are you on a speakerphone?
Oh, yes.
Would you mind coming to us? We've just got time for a quick question.
Okay, thank you. 1 moment. Hi.
Hi. Go ahead. Quick question.
Sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
I have an 18-year-old dog. He's a cross husky, medium size. And the last several months, he's began this chronic problem of constantly whining and yelping, and he'll go on for hours. And I'm trying different natural remedies to relax him, and it doesn't seem to go too far. I've had tests done, blood and urine tests, he's chronically peeing as well now. And it hasn't showed anything significant that's wrong with his kidneys or anything, so...
Okay, Angie, I have to stop you there. What would be the next best step? She's done the blood work, she's trying these sort of homeopathic natural remedies. What would you suggest?
Well, I guess there are a couple of issues. There's the peeing in the house. If we've eliminated an infection, kidney disease,
She has.
male or female?
Don't know, and we had to let her go.
Okay.
So.
Sometimes in females it can be incontinence. So if we've ruled out anything medical, there are medications for that. In terms of the vocalizing, I guess the biggest thing I'd wonder, could he be in pain? Even arthritis, dental disease, perhaps something else. So if we've eliminated all medical things, I usually recommend a trial of a pain medication, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory or another type of drug.
So she could ask her vet for that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Good luck, and thank you for that. And thank you for being here. I'm sorry that we have to wrap this up. It went very well, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for all your great information. This is Animal House Calls on CP24, Radio 1050, Animal Planet coming up next. A fundraiser for Westies in need right after the break.